A movie ticket stub, a concession receipt, same night, same theater, same customer's pocket. Neither one says where the theater actually made its money that night. Two public companies' own filings do. So this video does one thing. It reads what two publicly traded movie theater chains actually reported to regulators for the last 2 full years, and lines up what came in at the ticket booth against what came in at the counter. It is one test of whether the thing printed on a receipt is the thing that actually made the business its money. AMC Theaters and Cinemark are both publicly traded. Both are required by law to file detailed financial statements with the Securities and Exchange Commission every year. Those filings are the source for everything in this video. One note on why these two and not others. AMC and Cinemark are both large, publicly traded movie theater chains that file the same admissions and food and beverage detail with the SEC every year. That is a selection made for data availability, not a claim that they are the only two chains that matter or that every theater in the country looks like them. Both companies report two separate revenue lines every year: admissions, which is ticket sales, and food and beverage, which is the concession stand. Both companies also report what each one directly costs them to deliver. Subtract the cost from the revenue, divide by the revenue, and you get a margin, the share of that revenue left after its own direct cost. Start with the counter. In AMC's fiscal year 2025, food and beverage brought in $1.7 billion. The direct cost of that food and beverage was $327 million. The margin, 80.4%. Now the ticket booth, same company, same year. Admissions revenue, $2.7 billion. The cost tied to those tickets, mostly what AMC pays film distributors, was $1.3 billion. The margin, 51.9%. Same company, same year, two lines on the same page, 28.5 points apart. Cinemark, the other of the two chains, same fiscal year 2025. Concession revenue, $1.2 billion. Its direct cost, $240 million. Margin, 80.4%, the same number AMC just showed from a completely separate company. Cinemark's ticket booth, same year. Admissions revenue, $1.5 billion. Film-related costs, $877 million. Margin, 43.2%. The gap at Cinemark is 37.2 points, wider than AMC's. One thing this number is not. It is not the theater's overall profit margin. Every figure so far only subtracts each line's own direct cost. Food ingredients on one side, payments tied to films on the other. Rent, staff wages, utilities, marketing, corporate overhead. None of that is split between the two lines in these filings. That is true for both companies, not just one. Both businesses still have to pay for all of it. So why is the booth's margin so much thinner? Mostly one line. What AMC calls film exhibition costs and Cinemark calls film rentals and advertising. It is what each company pays to release films in its theaters. In AMC's 2025 filing, that line was 48.1 cents of every admissions dollar. At Cinemark, it was 56.8 cents. One thing that 48-cent, 56-cent figure is not: a single ticket price or a single film's deal. It is a whole year, every title, every screen, added together and divided. Neither company publishes what any one film's contract actually pays out, and this video does not pretend to have that number. Where does that money go once it leaves the theater? Mostly to the studio or distributor that made the film. The exact split is set in a contract between the theater chain and the distributor. One contract per film, and those contracts are not made public. One structural detail explains a lot of this. Film licensing math, however it is negotiated, is calculated against box office receipts. Concession sales are not part of that calculation at all. Industry sources describe this consistently. Whatever a customer spends at the counter, no distributor has a contractual claim on it. Trade press and industry commentators describe a common pattern in those contracts. The distributor's share is highest in a film's first week or two, then steps down as the run continues, so the theater keeps more of a later ticket than an opening night one. but the actual numbers reported for that pattern vary a lot from source to source, and none of them are AMC's or Cinemark's own published figures. We looked at several of those accounts while researching this video. They agree on the direction. They do not agree closely enough on the numbers for us to put one on screen and call it representative, so we are not going to. Now the counter side of the ledger. What actually sits inside that direct cost line? Mostly raw ingredients: corn kernels, syrup concentrate, paper cups, ice. None of it requires a contract with a film studio. That is most of the reason the two margins are so far apart. So when this video says an 80% margin, it means 80 cents of every food and beverage dollar was left for buying the popcorn and the cup. It does not mean 80 cents of profit for the company. Rent for the building and the wages of the staff behind the counter still come out of that 80 cents, and neither one is shown here. So here is the shape across two companies and 2 years. The line customers watch, the ticket price, sits on the side of the business with the thinner margin. The line most customers barely think about, the concession stand, sits on the side with the much thicker one. One number complicates the story, and we are not going to leave it out. A margin is a percentage. Profit is a dollar amount, and the ticket business is bigger in dollar terms. At AMC in fiscal 2025, admissions revenue was large enough that even at the thinner margin, tickets produced more gross profit than the counter did, $1.4 billion against $1.3 billion. At Cinemark, the same fiscal year, it runs the other way. Concession revenue is closer to admissions revenue in size, so its much higher margin wins out. $986.7 million gross profit dollars from the counter against $667.7 million from the booth. Same structure, opposite winner, which is exactly why this video shows margins, not one company's profit mix, as the structural fact. Neither company calls this a secret. It is printed line by line in filings anyone can read. What it means is a structural fact about how a movie theater's two products are accounted for. Not an accusation that either company is doing something wrong. One more limit. These are chain-wide averages across thousands of screens. A single independent theater or a small art house chain that does not file with the SEC may look nothing like this. We have no filing to check them against. One more thing about our own sourcing. The numbers in this video come from each company's official earnings release, filed with the SEC the same day as its annual report, and carrying the identical audited totals. We could not confirm the exact wording of the annual report's own footnotes, only the numbers which match. We are naming that gap because this video is about reading filings precisely, and precision includes admitting which exact document we actually opened. So the ticket stub and the receipt this video opened on were never measuring the same thing. One sits on the thinner side of the business, the other sits on the thicker one. Both companies' own numbers say so, 2 years running. If you want to see this same test run on a different two-sided business, parking, self-storage, the gas station attached to a convenience store, tell us which one in the comments. If we can find two public companies with filings as clean as these, we will build the next one the same way.